Here at The Container Guy, we do more than just sales and rentals of shipping containers. We have a huge engineering and architectural department, and we are working on a lot of cool innovations. But sometimes it's hard for myself, and I can sympathize with you guys, to rope all this in and bring it together as one cohesive whole. So in this video, I'm gonna show off all of our interior framing systems, exterior framing systems, some of the cool container designs that we're coming up with, and some other exciting projects that we have in the pipeline this upcoming year. Stay tuned, hope you learned something. So one of the biggest developments that we came up with is our exterior studding brackets. These brackets allow us to 2x4 stud the exterior of a shipping container, and it basically brings back traditional methods of constructions to shipping containers. It's nice to be able to start a project with a roof over your head, a place to store things, and you have the structural integrity of a shipping container. So if you were just to have a 2x4 shed and a tornado rolls in, I guarantee you, you're gonna appreciate a 2x4 shed with a shipping container inside of it. You'll feel a lot safer. And the container also adds to the modularity aspect of it. We can build a lot of these things now in a controlled environment and then ship them to the customer and not worry so much about the handling and the transportation of these things and damaging them, because we know we can rely on that stiff, rigid structure inside this building. So what these do here is basically, instead of everyone taking an 8-foot wide shipping container and being left with a 7-foot wide interior, you can actually leave the shipping container interior as your finished envelope and then just work on the outside. We have to start potentially building 16, 18-foot tall structures on top of a shipping container. So instead of digging a hole, pouring a basement, and all the time delays and all the expertise and the equipment that's required for that, we can actually just utilize a container as the starting point. Day one, containers delivered, you can get to work. So containerized solutions, they're quick, but if you have to frost protect your utilities and you have to pour a basement, well then you're kind of back to square one. But in other areas of the world, there probably is merit now to this method of containerized structures. We have a bunch of different brackets already developed. We have the base brackets, which go down at the base. We have the upper bracket, which can be a two-way. It can span across the roof and down the side. We have this one, which basically just allows you to put a truss on a container. We're working on a rafter bracket as well, which would give you a variable pitch, and then you can span from one container to the next. We also have a cantilever bracket, which allows people, surprisingly, a lot of people want something hanging over their container doors. So when it's raining, they have a bit of a covered shelter to get in and out of their container. Even just for general storage, I guess that sounds handy, but there's a lot of different brackets designed. These things we'll want to switch to a injection molded design. We can 3D print prototypes and really get them nice and strong, gusseted in areas, control where screws go. There's a lot of upside to this. This is going to take a year of development, and I'm really excited for the planet to go towards this method. We also have been working tirelessly on interior methods of framing. We have our strut strapping system that allows us to install strut channel as a framing method, and then we can hang, for industrial purposes, 1,500 pounds off every structural member, which is insane and very handy when we're installing huge electrical cabinets or benches, shelving, desks inside of industrial offices or MCC shacks. So we love our strut framing method. That's been pretty well perfected. Another thing is we have our steel stud brackets. So traditionally, I guess in our videos, you'll see them as aluminum brackets. We're playing around with a 3D printed prototype, and now on the way we have 10,000 of these things with a glass-filled nylon resin, which is way stronger than the aluminum version. I thought they were going to be cheaper. It turns out I don't think they are going to be, but they're going to be a major premium product. And what we love about this composite material that's stronger than steel, it eliminates the thermal bridge. So now when we have our steel studded interior and steel exterior, we don't have this aluminum bridge transferring cold from the outside of a container to the inside past your vapor barrier. We can finally say that we have a full thermal broke interior envelope from our exterior envelope. This is going to lead to other things like a fire rated wall system. A lot of the mining companies are really demanding this from us. They need a 2-hour fire rated wall system, either whether it be underground or for a structure that's within 30 feet of another building. So that is a huge development and something we want to start testing. What also works with these framing systems is our fenestration framing kits. That's windows and door kits and roll-up door kits and overhead door kits. We've got all of them perfected to match our interior wall plane. And so now everything works together as one system. So if you're on planmycan.com and you're moving our windows and doors around, you know that it's gonna work with our steel stud brackets. You know that it's gonna work with our CSM brackets, our MSS brackets. Everything is going to work together. Another huge development for our window and door kits is the size of them. We've actually switched from 8 different sizes of windows down to 2. We've dropped down to our version 2 window framing kit, where it's just a 42-inch by 30-inch tall window on the sides of shipping containers and a 48-inch by 30-inch tall window on the end wall of shipping containers. We are going to be working on a 20-inch wide by 60-inch tall residential type window. It just looks a bit prettier, nice and long and skinny, and you can actually have a couple of them beside each other. And I see that people looking to build themselves a little sleeper shack or potentially a tiny home out of shipping containers are really gonna enjoy that size of window. So we're gonna work on some more architecturally friendly window framing kits for the people that are looking to make beautiful spaces out of shipping containers that still utilize the same cut a hole, install it, and rivet it in functionality similar to our industrial kits. This avoids you guys needing to be journeyman welders when you're doing your shipping container modifications or having to paint, which is a huge advantage because you're not burning any of that beautiful paint that was applied by the manufacturer of the shipping container. On the topic of sizes of fenestration kits, we've also shrunk our 36-inch door down to a 32-inch door. It's made our door frame kit way smaller, which makes it lighter and easier to ship. This isn't fully commercialized yet, but we hope to bring that to you next year. This is actually an amazing thing for our 20-foot offices because with them, we can have between our strut channel 4 corrugation spacings, and then there's a 3 in a 20-foot container, and that 32-inch door fits between there, and then windows on the edges and a window on the end wall of a 20-foot container. That is gonna make, in our opinion, the perfect GLO, ground level office kit, which can be utilized as a lunchroom, a change room, an office, or a tool crib, all with one design and all with the same interior finishings. That's great for our competitors. Potentially you guys should be adapting our GLO system. We can give you the plans. You guys can build these things yourselves. You can have a common rental fleet. So when you get that phone call for a lunchroom or you get a phone call for an office, you just send out the same container. Another huge thing that we've been working on here at The Container Guy is green energy solutions. We have a do-it-yourself solar panel mounting kit that allows you to mount panels on the sidewall or the roof of shipping containers. You can generate 5,400 watts on the side of a 20 or 10,800 watts on the side and roof of a 40-foot shipping container. That's huge. A lot of you guys already have the foundation you need to make your acreage or your farmyard green to get off the grid or at least support the grid. So a grid tied system wouldn't require batteries. It'd be quite simple to mount panels on the side of a container and backfeed your shop or backfeed your home, even just through a small generator plug. It's a great idea. It's something that we really want to work on in the coming years for larger microgrid type options. We've just finished one mod and now we have a couple awesome 40-foot containers that we're going to be able to share with you, but these we need to control the climate in them. So we're going to be putting huge inverter banks, big battery banks inside of shipping containers and throwing them way up north in Canada, and these are going to replace the grid. They're not just supporting the grid. We're going to put huge solar fields with our shipping container, all the brains inside of it, and be feeding entire communities entirely, which is huge. This is going to be more reliable than their existing grid system and completely green. This is big for all of the planet and something we should all strive for in the future, but we got a lot to learn, and especially in the climate control area of that. What can we use that's energy efficient to control the excess heat inside of these things in the summer or to keep them batteries from freezing in the winter? We got to use heat pumps, we got to use electric resistance heaters, we got to use fans, and we might as well use the most efficient heat source or cooling source available to us. So what we've done is we've created an intelligent climate controller that has multiple heat settings and multiple cool settings. So if the ambient temperature outside is hotter or cooler than inside and you need to heat or cool, you can just draw on the air outside. You can test the humidity outside and the humidity inside. If it's too humid outside, then don't do that. Turn on your air conditioner, turn on the dehumidification settings, or if it's minus 40 outside and your heat pump is no longer efficient, Then shut off your heat pumps and just start burning resistant electric heat that you're already generating. We want to steer clear of all sources of fossil fuels when we build anything out of shipping containers. We can all agree that those things are probably becoming obsolete. Other challenges we face are constraints with roadways. So sometimes people want us to install the condensers of a heat pump unit on the end of a container, but the trailer won't allow it, or on the side, but then we're over width. So we've actually built a recessed box that allows the condenser unit to be tucked inside the dimensions of a shipping container, allow our spray foam to make a perfect vapor barrier all around that box, and then give ourselves an interior workbench afterwards. And then when our driver delivers this on a rental, we can actually pull out the condenser unit. But all these efficient systems, all these efficient methods of heating or cooling any kind of structure, but a shipping container, it's all for nothing if we don't have a flawless building envelope, a perfect vapor barrier. And so what we do, and what most people should do in my opinion, is just spray foam your container. How much R value do you need? Just keep adding inches of spray foam until you achieve that. If you want to mitigate some sound, you can go to a flash and bat method, which we looked at, which is potentially 2 inches of spray foam, and then you can add some mineral wool insulation. Then you get the advantages of both of them. The mineral wool is a cementitious insulation, so it has fire resistive properties, it has sound dampening properties. So with the two of those systems combined, you get a great wall system, an awesome envelope that's going to perform well in any environment. Then the heat load or the air conditioning loads that you need to keep yourself comfortable in these types of structures is going to be lessened. I'd like to give a big thanks to all you subscribers out there, because you guys have really allowed our channel to flourish, and that added exposure has brought other YouTube channels our way. We were able to work with a Canadian prepper this year, and we realized there's a lot of similarities between our audience who are looking to build containerized structures and all you preppers out there that are looking to prepare yourself for doomsday. We also worked with Hacksmith Industries. They're one of the biggest YouTube channels on the planet. With them, we built Warner Brothers Discovery, an 80-foot long bat cave to celebrate Batman Day. We also got to soak up a lot of wisdom from Ron Hubbard himself over at Atlas Survival Shelters. Another huge development this year, I was actually at one of our trade shows down in Vegas, and I asked a lot of the people in our industry, who designed the shipping container? Why are they built this way? Nobody could really answer that question, because there's a lot of little tiny things like the top tubing and the bottom channel that piss me off when we're modifying shipping containers, and I'd totally like them changed. So guess what I did? I got them changed. We developed a 20-foot mod box that made it the way that I want 20-foot containers to be built. I want all 20-foot shipping containers to be built this way. We can also build shipping containers specifically to modify and still have them large enough and the proper size to handle cargo inside. And so why did I build a fully self-supporting 40-foot shipping container that can have all the walls removed and span that whole distance? I did it because we purchased some land in Saskatoon. That's where we're based out of. We're going to bulldoze a home and see if we can build our own container home. It is going to be a fun process. It's going to be a painstaking process. We've already begun it. So after telling me they couldn't take my money and then not really telling me why, I finally prodded them enough to figure it out. They took another $1,300 from me, but eventually we have our demo permit. So one success there. We're $7,500 deep into permitting with the city, and we haven't really got very far. So I think that's what a lot of people, when looking to build a container home and the project falls flat on its face, it's because once you start dealing with the municipalities, the permitting, the engineering, and the architectural requirements, it just gets overwhelming, and it's so much easier just to go back into the old traditional ways of doing things, which basically is like stifling innovation, and just build yourself a traditional stick-built framed home. The whole idea of pre-modified shipping containers to be built into something else, that cat is out of the bag. I think that a lot of my colleagues in the industry are going to take this idea and run with it, and I'm really excited to see what people come up with. I have some other really cool ideas, like a double wide shipping container in a box. So 140-foot ships to you, and it's everything you need to build a container home inside of it. And I think I can even give you a pitched roof out of that whole deal. So I'm excited to see what the future brings for us here at The Container Guy, and also just for the entire industry. If you guys want to learn more and follow along as we develop all this cool stuff, please subscribe to that channel, give this video a like, and for now, Hope you learned something.